Okay, I'm back. I know it's been a little minute, but I have been wanting to make this video surrounding neglect. I'm gonna touch on both because I've been through both, emotional and physical. But I want to start with emotional because, like, I just seen this video and I was like, yo, that just made everything click. Like, having like if you have emotional, like if you've experienced emotional neglect from the people who've raised you, like your parents or whoever, I noticed certain things that I never put together. That's why I was the way I was. But now I realize that was why. It was because this emotional piece that I kind of had to figure out and discover on my own. The first thing that I noticed was it built. Oh, I also want to talk about how I was able to, like, I guess you could say, alchemize these things and flip them and use them in my favor, because at the end of the day, I think we should take everything we experience and turn it into a lesson and not just look at it as something that caused us suffering, even though it may have. We need to see what we can take from those experiences and grow. So I want to talk about that. So first, with emotional neglect, the first thing I noticed was a distrust and like an uncertainty towards just people in general, or expressing yourself. Like, you don't feel safe. Specifically, I did not feel safe being myself around my parents because it was just not a safe space. Because on that emotional level, I could never open up and truly be my honest and open self. And I feel like that also allowed other people to get different versions of me. And it also, like, I always felt like my parents would never really know who I am because they never, like, when you're never allowed to truly be yourself, when you feel like you can't be yourself around your parents, or maybe you tried to be yourself around your parents and you are given a negative reaction, it makes you feel uncertain about being yourself, and it makes you distrust your parents because you feel like, or the people who raised you, because you don't know how they may react, for one, and you just feel like you have to protect yourself in a way. It's like putting your guard up. And so, like, I was just afraid to be myself, and I did not trust my parents, and I did not see that my parents as someone who I could open up to or say certain things to, because I never knew how they would react. I never knew what they may say. It makes it hard to predict what their reaction to certain things will be, so it's better to just stay closed off and protect yourself. It's a form of protection. But the main thing I noticed about experiencing emotional neglect growing up was how, this was actually kind of a plus, was how I had to almost form my own opinions. And this goes back into that uncertainty and that distrust. When my parents shared certain beliefs or certain opinions, I never fully digested them and just like soaked them in, versus someone who like had such a deep emotional connection with their parents and they just trusted them and everything they said so much. I didn't feel that way. So when my parents would say certain things or have certain opinions about things, I never just digested them and I was like, that's the right way. Because my parents are like, I think when you're growing up, your parents can almost be like gods to you. You kind of see them as perfect beings. But with that emotional negligence, I just never saw it that way. And maybe you realize that your parents were maybe a little immature emotionally. But so yeah, I never fully, like, if they said something, I never fully just digested that and believed that. And I think that can be a good thing, but I also do feel like it's important to have people who you can trust in your life, especially your parents. But not having that led me to have my own opinions at an earlier age and kind of harbor my own thoughts and become my own person and build my own moral compass in ways that I don't think I would have been able to do if I had emotionally trusted my parents. And that kind of led to me being less bigoted, which is a good thing. Like, for example, I seen this video on TikTok and this dude was talking about how, because he didn't trust his parents, like, emotionally, like, for example, they were talking, like, they saw this gay couple in public and they were like, ew, that's just so gross and all this and that. And he was like, I hope they're happy and they're happier than you guys will ever be. And his parents couldn't understand how he could think that was okay when they have drilled it into his head that it wasn't okay to be this way, or it wasn't okay to like these things. But when you don't trust your parents, you don't trust their opinions. It's not just about, oh, I can't trust my parents to tell them how I feel. You don't trust their views. You don't trust their opinions. And I think it can actually be a great thing to maybe not fully trust everything that you're fed, and maybe just think twice about some things, because you have this uncertainty towards these people who are supposed to be, I don't know, who are just supposed to, I'm sorry, there was this bug that landed on me. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought, but the point that I was getting at is with being emotionally neglected allowed me to build and form my own opinions, which I actually deeply trusted. It made me more grounded in in my beliefs, because I knew it wasn't something I was just taught. It was something that I got to make a decision about and see for myself and decide, okay, I agree with this. Okay, I don't agree with that. And it allows you to be more grounded and more confident in what you believe. And I'm thankful for that. And it's funny because I feel very, very, very emotionally intelligent and very emotionally mature. And I think that comes from just having to figure certain things out on my own. I think I just had to figure things out on my own and experience things, learn things through experience rather than just being told. When you have to actually experience certain things, it's a whole different ballgame than just if you're told something and you never actually go out and experience. You just take it for what it is and that's it. But I was kind of forced to experiment and see things for myself because I had no one where I could just soak up everything they believed and follow that certain life path, which is great for individuality and finding yourself and truly just being grounded in who you are. So if we're emotionally neglected, that's a perfect opportunity to ground yourself in who you are, who you can be. But it does come with maybe some negative attachment styles, some things you have to work through. But that's something that everybody's on their own journey with that, and you can overcome those things like that. It's all about being self-aware and moving forward in a better way. But I just want to talk about how it can sometimes just be good that you kind of had to figure certain things out on your own, because it leads you to be your own person and you're not absorbing everyone else's ideas and thoughts about what you should do, how you should react, who you should be. You have to find yourself on a whole nother level. And some people will never truly find themselves because all they've done is absorb what they're told to be, absorb who they feel like, what they should do, who they should be, what they should believe, rather than you experiencing things for yourself and deciding, this is who I am. Deep down, I know this is what I want to be. And now I kind of want to get into physically being neglected, because like I said, I've dealt with that as well. And as I was a child, I didn't fully, obviously, I feel like when you experience things in the moment, in the trauma in the moment, especially as a child, you don't fully you don't fully realize, you don't fully understand until you're maybe a teenager and you're early adult, and then you start to realize, wow, this happened to me. And that can be when it hits you harder because you're reliving the experience. In the moment as a child, you may have not realized you were being neglected, but then you get older and you were like, wow, I was neglected. And that may be really, really, really hard for you to deal with. And you may just replay it over and over in your head. And so now you're living through your neglect, which has already happened. But when you replay things in your head, you're reliving it. So one thing I noticed is I was reliving my neglect in my adulthood. It's like I wasn't even living it as a child because I didn't really realize. But in my adulthood, I was living through it every day, reminding myself, because I just couldn't get over this betrayal that I felt. I couldn't get over it. And I mean, it's hard, but it's not. I couldn't get over it. And I don't want to say you should just get over the things that happen to you. I think it's more working through the things and Like I said, taking a lesson from them and understanding, no, you didn't deserve those things, but they happened. So all you can do is take the lesson from them and try to move forward and work through them, rather than continuing to live through them and harboring hate and hurt and pain, because you were never meant to experience all the things that you've been through over and over and over every day. You're meant to live through them and continue forward. But you can't continue forward when you're stuck in that one spot, and you constantly replay the betrayal and the hurt that you felt, or maybe that you feel now, because now you feel more the effects of it. And being neglected in general, but physically neglected, it causes a sense of worthlessness. And I actually have a story about this. I was in developmental psych, and it was talking about all the different types of childhood and the effects of them, and then like neglect came up on the screen, and it was like low self-esteem, worthlessness. And this was at the point where I was reliving my trauma every day of being neglected, because I couldn't get over it, because I couldn't understand what I did to deserve that. So I did feel worthlessness, and I had an extremely low self-esteem, and seeing that reflected back to me up on the board, I was just like tears started welling into my eyes, because it was very accurate. Like, it was literally everything that was listed on the board. It was literally me. I was like, it was putting a mirror to yourself and letting me know exactly how the things I've been through had affected me. So seeing that was really, really hard for me to deal with, because after seeing that, it kind of just, I don't know, it kind of confirmed everything that I felt, all the hurt that I felt, and it almost amplified it, because it was like, wow, I do have a right to feel this way. And yes, you do have a right to feel that way, but you don't want to be stuck there forever, because the people that hurt you, they're not stuck there. They're not, half the time they don't even remember. They don't care. They truly don't understand how what they did hurt you so much, and it's just not something that affects them, but it affects you so deeply. And the only way I was able to flip the emotional neglect that I felt was in physical, because physical really, really, really took a toll on me. Like, that really broke me, to be physically neglected and betrayed. That really, really, really broke me. I was able to flip that and alchemize that. Was one thing I always think about is, you always have yourself. And sometimes it's because you're forced to only have yourself, and sometimes it's because you're choosing to be alone, or maybe you're surrounded by people but you still feel alone. But at the end of the day, you always have yourself. No matter what happens, you always have yourself. Did you deserve what happened to you? Absolutely not, but it happened. And you can take this as a way to appreciate yourself more, because no matter who left you, you always had yourself. And that was a big lesson for me, to value and appreciate and to love myself instead of feeling worthlessness. That was a lesson for me to realize, no matter who left me, I had myself. No matter who leaves me, I have myself. So I should love myself for that. And I should be patient with myself and kind to myself, because no matter what happens, I'm going to have myself. No matter who leaves, I'm going to have myself. And no matter how much that hurts, to be betrayed and be alone, especially when you're so vulnerable, like, for example, as a child, there's something so comforting about knowing no matter who leaves, no matter who stays, that you have yourself. And you don't want to be the one betraying yourself as well. You're the one constant in your life, you know? And you deserved better. So you have to be better for yourself, because the way other people treat you is not a reflection of your self-worth. The way you treat yourself is a reflection of your self-worth. So the more I started to honor myself, I started to realize it doesn't matter how other people treat me, it matters how I treat myself. And I chose to take my worthlessness and actually realize how worthy I am of love. But it can't come from an outside source. It can't come from me expecting other people to be there for me. It has to come from me. And no one else will be able to fulfill certain parts of myself. Only I can. And once I was able to accept that, I started to love myself, and my self-esteem started to rise. Because when I was in this state of worthlessness and low self-esteem because I was neglected, it was me basing my worth off of how other people treated me. I was a child. I didn't choose that. I didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve that. You deserve better, so be that for yourself. And no matter who leaves, no matter who stays, no matter how badly other people treat you, you'll know that you can always have yourself, and you can always choose to love yourself and be there for yourself. And I'm grateful for all my experiences, because maybe I would have never loved myself this much if I wasn't forced to love myself. If I wasn't put in this position where everyone else around me showed me so much love and I never actually did the inner work to be there for myself and love myself, I don't know who I would be. Maybe I would never ever reach this level of consciousness to understand why self-love is the best love. So you deserve better, so you get to be that for yourself. And it never depends on other people, it depends on you. And that's the beauty of it, because you get to decide to love yourself. You're worth so much more than the way other people have treated you in the past, and also the way people continue to treat you. And the best person to love you is yourself. And neglect is something I don't wish upon anyone. It literally broke me, but it also gave me a chance to build myself together and build who I want to be as a person. And it involved no one else. No one else can take credit for who I am. No one else can take credit for my light and my love, because I gave it to myself. You don't need validation, you just need to be you.